these headphones weren't built for mobility,
Yeah, no.
but I try to make them work.
At least they're subtle. Mine are ridiculous to wear out in public.
You know what though? Like as huge as those headphones are, everybody, like every other person in Seattle, has headphones that big,
Not
just
this
walking
big.
around. Yeah, I swear to God.
Go out.
PJ,
go out in public.
do you live
with
in
these
Seattle,
things
buddy?
on. I've been there.
Let me take a random picture. Let me pull my arm out the window and take one picture, because then somebody will be captured that's wearing headphones even bigger than this.
Yeah, but what kind of people are they? I don't want to look like them.
No, they're pretty cool.
Those are Bose headphones.
No,
those
got
are not this big.
They are that big. I swear to God, everybody looks like a record producer.
In studio, no less.
Yes. I'm going to put him right up here. It's like the guy that wears his sunglasses above his head.
That's
Never
nice.
puts them fully over the eyes.
Or behind the head sunglasses.
Are aviators still cool?
Aviator, yeah, those are always cool.
Really? I thought Johnny Knoxville made them cool. Like they had an uncool period before that.
It's not even Johnny Knoxville. It's like if you wear aviators, expect everyone to call you Maverick. Or in my case, everyone just calls me Goose.
Oh, Goose dies though.
I do. I guess I do kind of look like Goose in there, especially when my hair's short.
Yeah, you know what? You look more like Anthony Edwards from Anthony Edwards was Goose, right?
Yeah.
You look more like Anthony Edwards from I was gonna say his pasty days in ER, but I'm gonna go Revenge of the Nerds.
But he was really thin then. By the time he was in, what was the other movie we were just talking about?
With Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
There isn't one.
The one that
We've named them all.
The one that started this whole thing.
Oh.
Like I literally forgot what movie we were talking about.
Top Gun.
Top Gun, yeah. In that one, he's not so thin anymore. Like, you know how really thin guys can get into shape really well? Like how our roommate Randy used to always say, man, you guys could be cut.
As he stroked our cocks.
Yeah. But when he's in Top Gun, he's like skinny. His arms are skinny and stuff, but he's kind of a schlub. Like, they wouldn't even let him take his shirt off in that volleyball scene.
Don't you think that is to blame on his demeanor more than anything, though? Like, he just
know.
has a certain sensibility, I
Had
think.
he gotten into shape.
Where he's like, oh, I'm schlubbish even when I'm not.
Yeah, but he was an ace pilot or a navigator or co-pilot or whatever he was.
Do you think he'll come back for the ER reunion? That's coming up, right? The final episode?
He's been on this season already.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That
That guy needs some work.
in a flashback or something. You know he died on that show, right?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, yeah.
Helicopter blade?
No. Interesting. It was like the first time a doctor didn't die via helicopter in ER. He had some disease.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. Was he Dr. Green or was that George Clooney?
No, he was Dr. Green. Clooney was Dr. Ross. He will not be on this season of ER.
You don't think so?
Noah Wiley signed up for
Like I think of George Clooney as the type of guy that's like, hey, this is where I got my start, even though that's not true. I'll always remember him as Booker from Roseanne.
Yeah, but he can't pencil it in.
Yeah, that's true. He's got too many things to release right around Oscar time.
Good for him, man. More power to him.
Yeah, and I generally like his movies.
And
I know that you're not so into the idea of watching Burn After Reading. Are you gonna put it on your Netflix queue at least?
Yeah.
You gonna bury it at the bottom?
I'm sure I'll end up like at Blockbuster on one of my next days off, and I'll rent it.
It's worth watching. I saw it in the theater twice, but only because I was dating somebody that I promised that I'd wait to see it with her, but then I went and saw it by myself, and then so.
And did you pretend not to have seen it?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I've done that more than a few times in my life, specifically that scenario.
With that girlfriend?
No, just overall. I found myself in that situation more than twice. But so the first time I saw it, I liked it. The second time I saw it, there are a couple of scenes where it's interesting when you know it's coming because you want to see the audience reaction. And I don't know how well that movie did, but I saw it twice on opening weekend. So the crowds were pretty big both times I saw it. And so there are a couple of shocking moments in the movie because overall it's a Coen Brothers comedy, so like you don't know when to laugh really.
Yeah.
But then they always like to throw in, especially lately, like there are R-rated comedies, they'll throw in a scene or two just for shock value, like just to see how the audience is going to take it.
Like what was that? There was one in Big Lebowski, right?
Not so much in Big Lebowski. I mean,
Give me an example of one.
Walter did bite off that guy's ear.
Yeah.
Like that was a pretty gruesome scene for
And
that
it was
type
shocking
of movie.
when when Donnie died too.
Yeah. And in Lady Killers, I think the scene. Did you ever see Lady Killers?
No.
Piece of shit.
I
But there was
started
some
it.
scene where a guy accidentally mistook. If I remember correctly, and I haven't seen it since the theater, but I think he was a guy. It had been established that he needed an asthma inhaler a lot, even though he was a criminal. And then at one point, he
Even though he was a criminal.
yeah. So he at one point he thinks he has his asthma inhaler in his hand, but it's a gun, and he blows his own head off on accident. It's kind of also like the scene in Out of Sight, which isn't a flat-out comedy, or the Coen Brothers.
Right.
But when the guy blows his head off as he's running up the stairs with the stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got no problem with anything like that, or with the Coen Brothers. My thing was just right now with the images, with what's the word? Like the image of themselves that they have manufactured over these years. Now I don't want to see them making wacky faces into the camera.
You're talking specifically about Brad Pitt and George Clooney,
Yeah,
right?
who I love both of them.
Do you?
Oh yeah, I really do. But especially Brad Pitt. Like I like. Brad
I'd say
Pitt.
especially George Clooney
Really?
myself. Yeah. I don't
love
know. I
Brad
think
Pitt.
his body of work is a little more impressive overall, don't you?
No, I like no George Clooney. He's kind of, especially since he started directing movies, he seems kind of way too full of himself for me.
Well, his last directorial effort was Leatherheads,
Yeah,
and I think pretty much lambasted.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. I saw a lot of pretension in that movie.
Did you? Did you read the book though?
No.
The book is fascinating only because it came straight from Chuck Barris's fucked up head.
Yeah, and Good Night and Good Luck I really like, but I'd say overall, as the actors anyway, which is what they were in Burn After Reading, I like Brad Pitt a lot. I loved A River Runs Through It growing up. I liked, even though I'd never seen it, I like that he's done Cool World, and 12 Monkeys is a great movie. Fight Club obviously is great.
Did you already mention True Romance?
No, True
Scene
Romance.
stealer in that movie. Yeah, he's really funny.
Yeah, much more impressive body of work as far as acting goes, as far as I'm concerned. But I'd
have to sit in front of IMDb on two separate tabs and think about it, because
Yeah.
I don't know. I think George Clooney. Maybe I'm getting wrapped up in
movies you love him in though. Out of Sight, Oh
Yeah.
Brother Where Art Thou, which I did like him in that, even though I don't like him doing that kind of thing.
what, like over the top goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't buy that so much either. And he doesn't like. I don't think either of their characters in Burn After Reading is, well, no. I'd say George Clooney is probably not as wacky as you think he is in the movie.
Yeah, but see that's the whole thing I was getting at. I don't want to see Brad Pitt playing wacky.
Yeah. Well, I could give you a spoiler to make you feel better, but I won't. I
yeah.
won't, buddy. But you should see it, and then we'll discuss it, and then we'll give all the spoilers
The
we
scene
want.
where he gets
I was
punched
willing
in
to
the
spoil it
face.
for all of our listeners, but the fact that you want me to wait, I guess, is okay.
You have a bad history of spoiling movies for me too.
What? Give me one example.
I can't really think of any right now, but
imagine that.
I think you kind of spoiled The Usual Suspects for me.
No, I didn't. We watched that at the exact same time. How could I spoil it?
Actually, we were supposed to, and you watched it without me with some friend. I can't remember who. Maybe Bob Meacham.
I think it was the
You know
first
him,
time I saw it,
that
but
guy?
Oh yeah, I did watch that without you,
didn't
and I
wait
blew
for
it.
me. I think you pretty much gave it away. Well, you said right in the beginning that one of these guys is Kaiser Soze, and you have to figure out which one. And then so I'm thinking, well, it's got to be the Gimp, right? And then I adopted the Gimp walk all through that ferry ride.
Oh yeah.
Two inside.
Well, we could tell the story, and then it wouldn't be.
Okay, go ahead.
We had just seen Usual Suspects, so that was what, like 97, I'm guessing, somewhere right around there. And for whatever reason, we were on a ferry ride with our dad and our uncle Barry.
It was our whole family. Melissa was there.
Oh,
Mom
okay.
And Dad and
All right.
Barry.
I didn't remember that, but
we had driven to Seattle, and then we took a ferry somewhere for some reason.
we were pretending to be tourists, even though
Yeah.
we only lived a half an hour away.
Yeah, we were pretending to be a family, even though we all cried at night.
And then so to make, not even so much to make me laugh, but to make our uncle laugh, like we had just seen The Usual Suspects and became pretty obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Kevin Spacey plays a character named Verbal Gimp, or was that it?
Verbal Kent.
Oh yeah. And he I don't know, he has some kind of, is it palsy? Is that what he has?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's got like the the crooked, fucked up hand
And foot, yeah.
and foot, and he just kind of has this drag about his foot. He turns it sideways and just drags it against
he
the.
turns it like complete 90-degree sideways.
Yeah, and so it's a cool scene in the movie, like when he transit. Well, I don't want to give it away. Spoiler alert: 11 years later, verbal gimp is Kaiser Soze. So anyway, you developed that walk, and you could do it pretty well.
Yeah.
And I can't even explain why it was funny. It was just the fact that you would walk up and down the whole ferry in front of tons and tons of people, pretending to have this. What do you call it? Disability.
Yeah, and people really pointed and stared, and I couldn't.
Is it because you're a bad actor or because you're a good actor?
That's what I couldn't decide. I couldn't decide if they were just being really insensitive or they knew obviously I was kidding, which is more than likely the case since you and Barry were laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Fueling my fire.
And that's before I discovered pot, so it was really you.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't out of my element in any way.
That was really a true great public performance on my part.
The only other instance I can think of, and stop me if we've talked about this on the show. It seems like we may have. But do you remember you were probably 15, I'm going to guess?
This isn't the Puyallup Fair thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, rubbing the milkshake on myself.
Oh, we already talked about that? Just a brief then for anybody that's new. PJ pretended to be retarded and rubbed chocolate milkshake all over his white T-shirt at the fair. All right, now we're all caught up.
Okay.
Where were we?
Well, we were going to have Big Red on the show, but since he couldn't come, we have another guest, and it's Nick's ex-girlfriend, Stacy. Hey, guys, got me food? I sweat Crisco.
That wasn't even a segue. You just launched right into hating her.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it then.
Do you
shall
not
we?
hate her?
Huh?
Do you not hate her?
I only hate her officially as of the last 3 or 4 days.
Wow, I've hated her for years.
But
this is Nick's ex-fiance.
yeah, and I've talked about her on the show before. Probably the best reference is episode 10 of Patchouli Soaked Jungle.
Yeah.
That's when she got pissed and stopped listening to the show. And I kind of expected it, even though at the very beginning, okay, so we'd stopped seeing each other probably 3 years ago officially now.
Yeah.
Maybe more. And
does that mean that's when you broke off your engagement?
No, that was longer
last time
ago.
you've seen her?
Since the last time I've seen her.
When did you break off your engagement with her?
Oh, God.
And you were engaged for how long?
How
long were you dating when you got engaged?
Please stop. I've got too much on the mind. I honestly, probably October of either 2004 or 2005. No, it had to have been 2004. Was our wedding date.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact date.
Okay.
Maybe Halloween. It gave her an excuse to dress up as a dyke at our wedding.
What's that entail? Trucker cap, sleeveless flannel.
Yeah, sleeveless flannel.
Or some fucking pillowcase she wraps around like a dress, which she
know,
used to do in my fucking house and make me want to vomit.
Oh, yeah. Her boobs were less than becoming.
Oh, my God.
A cup, too.
Yeah, and you know what? She just kept getting fatter and fatter, and her boobs never got any bigger. And she would dress disgusting.
I know. It became a problem towards the end, especially. Like, once I started speaking up in the relationship.
Yeah.
In fact, here's a great side story. I had my own apartment. You remember that place. Uh-huh. And she was basically living with me for a few months, you know. She officially had another place.
As all Jehovah's Witnesses should be doing.
Yeah, and we were fucking, but barely because we hated each other. This is when we were engaged, and, like, all the pressure was on us. And we realized that we hated each other, and we just... it was just close quarters. Like, we were spending so much time together.
Yeah, I used to work with a guy that lived in the apartment.
Yeah,
right
we already
next door
told
to
this
you.
story, too, on the show.
And he would tell me about you guys just fucking screaming all the time.
Which I still argue is not entirely
I would say,
true.
oh, my God, I fucking hate my brother. Because he'd always ask how you were doing because he lived right there.
Yeah.
And
like, you did hate me at that point in our lives.
I wasn't saying that. I was saying I hate my brother's girlfriend. I fucking hate her. And he would always be like, don't worry, dude. I don't think they're gonna be together much longer.
Yeah, but we were together forever.
Yeah.
And it sucked for everybody.
It really never stopped.
Especially me. And
this
probably her.
Stupid bitch would like try like her mission in life was to make us not hang out. Like, I resent her for
She felt the same way about you, friend.
I resent the fact that if you were married to her, you would have nothing to do with me right now.
Well, if I were married to her, I'd be divorced from her by now.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean, what if
we already hated each other?
What
Like
if you were one of those couples though that like dad and his wife who just refused?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I'd like to think that I would be able to get past that and like realize how unhappy.
Yeah.
Although it took her breaking up with me the first time for me to realize how unhappy we were. And I was devastated too. Like I couldn't handle the thought of it. And it was so funny because
Was I invited to this wedding?
Oh, I'm sure you were, and that you weren't willing to come.
I never had been invited to the wedding. I was wondering if I was like gonna be there at the wedding. I never got an invitation. I don't know if you even sent out an invitation.
No, we didn't get to that point.
You and I weren't.
The furthest we got was her parents had put the money down for the hall that we were going to have our wedding at.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably approximately a month before whatever bullshit date we had set, October 31st.
But still no invitations?
I guess not. We didn't expect anybody to we didn't have any friends within the religion, which would have been the only people to come anyway. Because everybody knew what we were up to, basically.
Yeah.
Like it was really getting towards the end there.
Yeah, you guys were not hiding.
We weren't hiding a whole lot.
Everyone should know by now. Jehovah's Witnesses are not even allowed to, when they're dating, especially when they're dating, to be alone together ever at all.
No, a chaperone is required.
Let alone fuck and live together, which is what they were doing.
And everybody basically knew it. Like we weren't and it's hard to keep a secret in this fucking town anyway, being Yakima, Washington.
And she's a cokehead at this point, or no?
No, the coke didn't start until after we'd broken up. She was really into cigarettes, which I was really offended at the time, which is funny to say now. But where were we going with this? I got way sidetracked.
I had asked you how long you were engaged when you broke off your engagement.
I don't know. Not that long. Probably 6 months, maybe.
Okay.
I'm just guessing. I really don't remember the details.
And you've been broken
anymore.
up about 4 years now?
Yeah.
4 years since you broke off your engagement.
But then we did get back together without the pressure, of having to get married because both of us had pretty much fallen off the religion bandwagon by then.
Right.
And so we'd started seeing each other again, and we actually were happier because there wasn't all that pressure and like things had changed. Like I'd started smoking and being cooler. And then but then I lost my job at the grocery store and didn't have much of an option except for to bail out of town and go back to Tacoma and live with friends. And so we broke it off at that time, and it was this big emotional scene. But then even after that, like we'd still hook up like months and months after the fact. And now I wonder why. But like at the time, she was the only girl I'd ever slept with and the only girl I thought I could ever sleep with, basically.
And you didn't know that she was cheating on you?
No, I did not, BJ. That can we confirm that? Is that fact? Because if so, I only found out 3 days ago.
What cracks me up is that this fucking girl, like, she can talk so much shit, and she did so much shit. She's an awful person.
Let's give us an example.
I don't know. She's a terrible person. She tried to take my brother away from me.
That she did. I actually don't believe that. I think a lot of that was in your own head.
Man, I don't know. I don't know whatever really started her and I not getting along. I think it was probably after I got married because my wife didn't like her from day one.
But you even didn't like her. But I know. Here's my theory on your not liking her. And did we say her name? Because if not, we probably shouldn't.
No, yeah, Stacy Doan.
I was thinking we could come up with a nickname like Furburger or Stretch Mark or something.
A cup.
A cup.
A cup for Anastasia Doan.
Oh yeah, what I think really started it was because at the very beginning, I didn't have much history at all with girls, and so I was still a Jehovah's Witness. I'd moved back to Tacoma, like after living in Yakima for a couple of years, but I came back up to Yakima for a Jehovah's Witness party. It was that formal thing, and like it gave Jehovah's Witnesses an excuse to wear tux and pretend to be at prom.
Yeah.
Except for there's no worldlies around.
A prom every year.
Yeah. And so I went to that, and it was the first time I'd ever worn a tux, and like I don't know, like I had a huge ego about myself at that time. I was probably 21 or 22, and like I just went in there and asked every girl to dance. And then my big line for the night.
You were really kind of in Yakima, Mr. Awesome Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, which is funny because I was never as strong as far as the religion itself.
But you got adopted by a group of friends.
Because they all wanted to fuck our cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did, like, as far as cool people in the Jehovah's Witnesses group, if that's even possible.
Because I never got into formals or anything. I don't like to talk to people that much.
Yeah. But I had this group of friends, and like I was living with two of the guys, and like we were all just hanging out, and there were some hot girls within that religion, and so like
not Stacy though.
No, not Stacy,
No.
but she was a lot better looking back then. I mean, she was never especially attractive.
Yeah.
But like if you see pictures of her then compared to now,
yeah, that's the thing is you got to compare them then to now.
Yeah. So I wasn't completely into slobs back then. I just want you to know. But it progressively turned into that. But yeah, so Stacy was one of probably 8 to 10 girls that night that I had gone up to and asked to dance, which is amazing. Like I was on some kind of high, and I'd never even been high. Like I don't even know what it was, because I
sugar high.
Yeah. Thank you, Coyote Shivers.
You were playing the record, the Empire Records soundtrack in the car.
Yes, I was. And so Stacy was one of several girls. And my line for the night, like, this is what I thought would work with the girls and only worked with Stacy.
You know, let me, before I hear the line.
Okay.
You used to have lines and things that you did that used to drive me crazy, like bits, but I love them now. Really
what do you mean? Is one of them how I used to, alongside a tip when we were at a restaurant, I would leave an Laffy Taffy wrapper?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that and the Chewbacca head thing, where you would take the Chewbacca Pez dispenser and carry him in your pocket constantly. But there were great bits, and
they're not great. Like I'm embarrassed to hear back now. Anyway, what was that?
That was it. What was your line for the ladies?
Oh, that's right. So I was at this Jehovah's Witness formal excuse for a prom, and I would go up to girls and ask them to dance, and then after it, I wanted to have proof, like when I came back to Tacoma where I then lived.
Yeah, I remember.
And I was I had a disposable camera with me. This is 1998. It wasn't that lame to have a disposable camera.
It was pretty awesome, actually. This was tuxedo and Converse shoes, right?
Yes.
I hated that about you then, but I love it now.
See, there are so many things that you've just grown to appreciate about me.
Maybe Stacy came along at a bad time in my life.
Yeah. I think that's probably 60% true.
Yeah. But then she got so ugly that didn't you tell her how
would you just let me finish my fucking story?
You didn't want to fucking have sex with her anymore because you weren't turned on by her and she was bawling her eyes out?
Oh, that's the story I never finished. Let me get back to that really quick.
Oh, okay.
When we were living, God, we're straying so much.
Yeah.
But it was when I was living in my apartment, and the thing I said that offended her most in our relationship was I had cable at my apartment, and she was staying there every night, and we were into, like, I think it was on E! They would show Howard Stern, like the radio show, but the video of it, like it was a show every night. And one time they would do disgusting things, and they brought this woman in, and she was like so gross, and she was wearing this 2-piece, and they put her up against the wall, and we're throwing.
Stacey said, "Did you like my performance?"
Close. So this woman, and she's like got cellulite all over her ass, like it's really disturbing. And they're throwing bologna at her and trying to get it to stick to her ass.
Then you realize that Stacy was just standing in front of the television.
Would you let me finish? Because it's almost as good. You keep stepping on the
better parachute than a window.
And I don't remember how she proposed the question, but it was something about I had made a comment about the girl's ass, and she's like, I have cellulite too. Do you think my ass looks like that? Something like in that realm. Yeah. And so at the time, like I hated her enough to where I was honest about it, and she could not have been more offended. And I heard about that even after we broke up and then got back together. Like it was still something that stung her big time.
But wasn't there a time where you told me you guys were laying in bed and she said something about you not wanting to sleep with her anymore? And you told her that you weren't as attracted to her as you used to be, and then she started bawling her eyes out. Is that not a story you told me?
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure it happened. But like, it's been a really long time now.
How fucking ugly she is. That's all I'm getting at. What was your line at the dance? Just to take a picture?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's get back to that. And then, but before I even get to that, because we've got 8 tangents floating right now, I'd like to make it an even 10. my not wanting to sleep with her, like there was probably a 4-month spell at a time when we were dating that we didn't have sex. We slept together every night, but never like even came close to it.
Yeah.
We would sometimes like kiss each other briefly in public just to make people think that we're still a functioning couple.
As Frank Silveri would say in The Wedding Singer, the thrill is gone.
The thrill's gone. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I love that guy, especially when he's hanging on a meat hook. Where am I going with this? I think we've wrapped up everything so far.
You're lying at the dance.
No, we haven't.
Just take a picture.
Yeah, so every girl that I asked to dance, including Stacy that first time at the formal, and I'd known her before, but not really. And I would have the disposable camera say, hey, do you mind if I take my picture with you now that we've danced? My mom doesn't think I like girls, and I want to prove to her that I do, which is a pretty good line.
Yeah, that's a good line. I would have hated it back then.
Stacy was, yeah, you did. And Stacy was the only one that bit. And like I said, she was more attractive at the time.
What do you mean that bit? The other girls took the picture, right? She just thought it was funny.
When I developed that roll of film,
Yeah.
I jerked off like at least 26 times, however many developed. So I remember that same night, like she had said something about, hey, I want a copy of that picture. I'm going to give you my phone number, blah, blah, blah. And I live 3 hours away.
Ugh.
And then, like, within 2 days, she had called. And then this is pre-cell phone for me. So
Yeah.
she was calling my house phone, and I was living with Mom. And somehow that was cool with her.
Mhm.
But she was just getting out of high school. I should say that she was 18 when we first started dating. And I was, 3 years older, I guess. And then I just want to say for the record that you encouraged this at the beginning.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I remember because I was freaked out because it was obvious that she was into me and she was calling me for no good reason and making excuses for it. And then we just started talking more and more and developing a relationship basically over the telephone because I lived so far away and wasn't driving. And then so every once in a while I'd find a way to get to Yakima and we'd spend the weekend together. But yeah, at the beginning you were like, you should totally call her, dude.
Yeah.
And that's
I get like that when people like people. I really want to like jump into.
and for me,
Everybody
like it
Loves
was my
Raymond.
first real relationship, so
Yeah.
it was kind of exciting for me, and I know that you were picking up on that. But yeah, then it turned into like 4 or 5, however many years of total agony. But then, so jumping to our feedback segment, we got some recent comments about our show from this particular supposed non-listener.
Yeah.
She stopped listening, Stacy, at episode 10 when we'd insulted her, and
before that, everything she said was very complimentary. I think she even acknowledged in one email something about like, or you told me something she said about, I know me and PJ never got along, but
yeah, and you guys didn't. But yeah, I'd say like 3
All her
episodes
fault.
into this damn thing. So this is back in July or August. I'd gotten a cell phone call from her, and she's like, I've been listening to the show, and she couldn't have been nicer.
yeah.
Like she was talking about how funny we were, and yeah, she said even though I've had my problems with PJ in the past, I can't deny that he's funny or
By the
something
way,
like
when
that.
you were telling me about this when it happened, I dreaded it. I was like, please don't let him get involved with this girl ever again.
No, that
would be my worst fucking nightmare.
like because of this damn show. No, but she even said at some point during that phone call, she was basically just stroking my ego and just talking about how funny it was and about how her lesbian girlfriend, who's always resented me and never met me, would find that Stacey had listened to it and then trash it on their computer.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone wants to see just how disgusting she looks, is she still on MySpace?
Yes,
she
she
still
is.
on our
She's
MySpace?
not. No, she
Okay.
unfriend requested us. I'm afraid.
Her MySpace name is Grrr, Grrrr.
Sexy.
And
At least as of the time of this recording, she's still my personal MySpace friend.
oh yeah, so you can
So
find her through Nick's
if you find her,
MySpace page.
yeah, you can find her through me.
Okay. And supposedly she won't be listening to this
But
show.
she may have privatized her profile. But if you really want to look, just
I'm sure-
contact me and I'll find a way for you to find
Okay.
pictures.
Yeah, we'll give away passwords just so you can see this disgusting film. I'm sure her default picture is bad enough.
Yeah.
Like it's like she goes out of her way to look like the most disgusting person on the planet. And I can't. But I think I've seen pictures of her lesbian girlfriend who's kind of hot, right?
No, her lesbian
Oh,
girlfriend.
no?
Based on pictures, not that hot at all. At least as heavy as her.
Oh, okay.
So you're wrong. If you're thinking of Angela, her Asian friend, she's pretty hot.
No, I know who that girl is, and I do not think she's hot.
I do, even now.
Okay. I'm sure you could sleep with her.
I've jerked off to her more than a few times.
Any of our Yakima listeners know who we're talking about, I'm sure. That girl you fucked. And now I'm attacking her friends.
It's true though. She kind of was a hussy. In fact,
That's
your
only
friend,
what I've heard.
your friend Troy, was sleeping with her. Remember?
Yeah, at some point. This guy's married now, so
Oh,
I doubt he listens. I don't know why he would, but
have you seen that guy recently?
yeah.
He totally fucked Angela. She's the hottest Asian I've ever known in real life.
Oh my god.
I was so jealous.
She gives. I'm already not into Asians, and she's just like the worst one I've ever seen.
Well, 'cause she's sassy.
No. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? That would only help. But for her, it hurts.
So at the end of this phone call from Stacy, she's like being encouraging about it the whole time. She says, I know that I'll probably come up at some point, and I hope you're not too mean, haha, like some kind of joke. And I was like, oh, yeah, because I didn't know where the show was going to go at that point. We had just started it.
Yeah.
And then several episodes go by, and then episode 10 hits. That was when our friend Jeff was on the show. And she came up, and I said some pretty harsh things. I don't remember. The episode was devoted to her and her hippie-smelling pussy.
Yeah, that's the namesake for the episode.
Yeah. So at that point, like, she didn't seem offended at first because she had left us a comment on the Planned Brotherhood MySpace page. And it basically like, because I'd made reference to one of the weird places we had sex, the abandoned food court.
Yeah.
And she's like, she made some snide comment on our MySpace page about, I'd completely forgotten about that. And I thought I'd never have to think about it again. Like some mini slam against me. But she seemed cool enough about it. And then, like, probably a couple days later.
Well, it also said something like, I never wore patchouli until after I was a lesbian, and then at least I never shit my pants twice.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Which
was Nick, by the way.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Good memory. And then, so a couple
so
days.
devoted to our MySpace comments. It's like, click, click, click.
So please leave some. So a couple days later, I noticed that she wasn't our MySpace. Oh, because the comment had been deleted, and I saw that she wasn't our MySpace friend anymore. So I sent her a MySpace message, basically out of morbid curiosity, finding out, like, was she in fact offended? And PJ, she was in fact offended. And she said that she fully supports us and our show, but that she just can't respect what she said and she can't get on board.
What we said?
Yeah.
Or what you said?
What we said.
Yeah.
But that she wishes us the best of luck.
If anyone remembers episode 10, I was pretty drunk during it, so please tell me what happened. I guess I'll listen again at some point.
Yeah, I'll burn it for you. I'll put it on a CD.
Yeah.
And then but after that, like, we'd had like 3 or 4 more MySpace exchanges after that, and she'd accepted me as a Facebook friend and left me a Facebook comment or two. So she seemed cool enough and was a supposed non-listener.
Did it feel like you gave her the ring all over again? But it didn't fit her fat fucking finger anymore?
Let me tell my proposal story another time because
low,
it's also good.
The kind of podcast you don't want to admit to liking but do.
As has already been mentioned on the show, I spent last week in Colorado, and I was there over Christmas Day, and by like 6 p.m. I was drunk, and so I was like, I'm going to send a bunch of people a text message that I am going to pretend is personal, but is in fact mass. And I don't like the mass text because I can always tell.
Yeah.
But the way I cracked that is, tell me if you would buy this if you received a text message. And
no, I wouldn't.
I realize it's different because
mass text messages, unless it has my name, I know it's part of one of many.
It's as close to your name as it can be without actually being your name. Let me explain. Merry Christmas, comma, buddy.
Good one.
Sarcastic?
I would think it was completely personal.
You would not.
Which one of those is my beer?
But you should. I don't know. Here, let's go with that. No, I just opened mine.
Nick,
Fucker.
you know I need my free beer.
We all do, friend. So I sent out this text message probably to about, I'd say 15 or 20 people. And as I started going down my contact list when I was picking the people to send it to, I was like, because I'm drunk and it's Christmas, I'm going to reach out to some people that I haven't reached out to in a while. One of which happened to be Stacy, because as far as I knew, she was
Bad
cool.
idea. bad idea.
Obviously.
You know she's not cool. Call me next time you think she's cool.
You will never get that call. So she gets a Merry Christmas, buddy text message from me. And whether she believes it to be a personal text message or not, that's not what the following has to do with. She's been harboring some resentment towards me, towards us, towards the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's too far.
I know. It's one thing to attack me as a person and you as a person, but playing Brotherhood as a person?
I bet she did some sort of stupid fucking art, right? She paint her toenails special or
What are you talking
make
about?
watercolors or something like that. Wasn't she an artist?
No,
Or
she's too lazy for that.
She would just take blanket sheets and wear it like a fucking toga around my house that she wasn't paying rent in, but would constantly kick me out from being downstairs.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah. There was one time when we were downstairs and
Making too much noise.
she had obviously told you to come kick me up. And I was real
Man,
pissed because she lived there. She was there when no one else was there. She was there all the time. You guys fucked in the hot tub. And
Only one time.
Yeah.
Did I tell that story? Did you catch us? What happened?
No, you told at least me that. I
Oh,
realized that she was a fat sloth, and there was that 4-month period where you couldn't get it up for her.
Was that the problem? I don't
But-
think we established that was the problem.
What do you mean?
My
That you couldn't get
ED.
it-
Yeah.
Oh no, I wasn't accusing you of ED. But yeah, she was ridiculous, and you guys had your own food down there and stuff. Like I didn't have to worry about her eating half my kitchen.
Yeah, we had our own fridge down
Yeah.
there. And a stove too, didn't we?
Yeah, but she was ridiculous.
But the
fucking
washer
hated
and
her.
dryer was down there, so you had to go down there sometimes.
She got really pissed at me.
I'm sorry about that, man. How long ago was that? That was only like 5 or 6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
How different was it between us at that time?
I'm so glad you didn't get married to her.
Was it solely her that was the problem?
I'm telling you, I resent her for that. You're saying that you say that you didn't think that she was trying to drive a wedge between you and I, but she really, really was. At least in my opinion, that's.
And I asked for an example, and you couldn't give me one. I'm just thinking, sure, she was bitchy, and you guys obviously didn't like each other.
No, there was.
But I don't remember any specific time that she was pushing for me not to hang out with you.
There was a big blow up where she got mad because she would always put like ridiculous fucking just dumb braids and shit in Melissa's hair. Do you remember that?
Yeah, our little sister Melissa.
And
Melissa
just,
would come
like,
and visit us for a couple weeks at a time.
Yeah. And that's fine or whatever, but then when we're hanging out with Melissa, like my wife and I don't want a little version of Stacy there. You know what I mean? And I would take like the fucking ridiculous Pippi Longstocking, whatever the fuck she did, and then Stacy like flipped the fuck out one time because I had done that. But she made it clear like this was the straw that broke the camel's back. Like a lot of things about me pissed her off. And I think one of them was that I didn't hide how many things about her pissed me off.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of the start of a big blow up. And then ever since then, like, you had that apartment after that, and, like, it wasn't really cool if I came over all the time.
Really?
Or, like, any times, really. Yeah, because she was always there. And it wasn't like I'd be like, hey, can I go over there?
And we weren't as
And-
eager to hang out with each other
Right.
back then either. We
Well,
had our own issues.
Yeah, well, all stemming from her, though. I didn't like your girlfriend.
But-
and I couldn't see how you did. But, so it wasn't like, no.
You can see how I did what? Like her?
No. I don't know. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't see how you liked her.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't like, oh, Stacy doesn't want you to come over or anything like that. But it was just known that if Stacy was there, I wasn't going to come over, and Stacy was always fucking there.
Yeah.
And you guys are claiming to be Jehovah's Witnesses. I still was trying to be at the time, and that was pissing me off that you guys are just fucking all the time and living together, and because she's there all the time, I can't even go hang out with you.
And that's not because I ever told you not to come over. You just didn't like the vibe, right?
What vibe would it be? There had been a huge blow-up fight. Like, obviously, her and I were not going to be in the same room together.
Oh, yeah, at that point. Okay.
And since she was
I got my
always-
timeline wrong there
And
for a
since
second.
she was always there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got real awkward between you and I. I remember at one point, like, we were at the point where, like, we were barely talking to each other, and you had made mention that you wanted a microwave back from me that I was
Oh
borrowing.
yeah.
And
I swear to God, I really needed that.
I don't doubt that you did, but like I couldn't fathom the idea of having to deal with you face to face. Like this is how bad it got.
Yeah.
And so I had left a note on my front door that said, "Hey, your microwave is in the back of my car. I left it unlocked because I didn't want to hang out with you."
Yeah.
And then I remember this is a lifetime moment coming up. You knocked on the door anyway, and you had the sign in your hand, and you're like, "Hey, do you want to get breakfast?" And so we went to McDonald's, and we stuffed our face with Egg McMuffins or whatever, and we didn't mention it at all. Like we made no reference to it. We talked about some bullshit that had nothing to do with anything and pretended like that whole drama never happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember that too, and I remember also I was still dating Stacy at the time.
Fuck that.
And I went back home and I told her, I was like, "Hey, PJ came over and apparently we're cool again. We went out to breakfast," and she's like, "Really? Did you guys talk about it?" And I was like, "No, we didn't talk about it at all. We talked about this and that and whatever." And she was so fucking pissed.
Really?
She's like, she thought I wasn't coming to her defense at any point.
Well, there you go. Now you set the example. Now you're saying you were asking me to give you an example of like why I couldn't go over there or why she was
Right, but shit had
or-
really blown up at that
Right.
time. I guess I'm asking prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, by that time, it was obvious that there was headbutting going on. More than that, like fucking, "You're a cunt,"
Yeah.
basically to her face. Which I'm not saying she didn't deserve. Like, it was a whole fucked up situation.
Yeah.
But let's go back to this glorious, glorious text that I sent.
By
Mary,
the way, I want to say I was a different person back then.
as was I, and
There's no way I would invite that much drama into my life. As long as it wasn't her, if you dated like her exact double, maybe get her to not gain so much weight. At least to get bigger boobs, at least because she still has like no boobs whatsoever.
no boobs, but
And
the belly
a
overpowers
huge
the
fucking
boobs.
everything.
Yeah.
Those are the worst kind of fat people. But if you dated someone exactly like her, there's no way that I wouldn't be cool with it.
What do you mean?
Like, there's no way I would invite that kind of drama in my life.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
For all I know, you could.
Are you worried
secretly-
about my next girlfriend?
No.
You think it's gonna be Stacy
No.
part 2?
I'm saying I wouldn't care as long as it's not Stacy. That's fine. There's no way I would invite that much drama in my life.
That's true.
But
Every
but
other
you-
girlfriend I've had since Stacy that you've even been briefly, and nobody you knew on the level that you knew Stacy, like that. We were living in the same town, first of all.
Yeah.
Every girlfriend I've had after Stacy was
But
once I
I-
moved away.
Yeah.
But the few people you have met, you've been totally cool with,
Yeah.
whether you like them or not. It turns out later, but I didn't even really like that last one.
But
Not the long term one. I'm talking about the babbler,
yeah,
the Schuster.
But I don't remember ever even fucking like hanging out with Stacy really.
No, I remember. Do you remember the first time that you found out that I smoked
Yeah,
pot?
and then we smoked pot with her.
Yeah, and she was totally bored by us.
Yeah, she was
That
real
was,
fucking bitch. You couldn't have made it a worse environment.
I remember we were telling hilarious childhood stories, which has now become our gold mine.
Oh, but yet she loves the podcast.
Yeah. But at the time, she could not care less. I remember you'd come over. It was my apartment, but of course she was crashed out on the couch or whatever. And you and I are basically experiencing our first high as brothers together.
Yeah.
And
We're doing everything you'd think we might do, which is just babble on and on.
no, anybody that listens knows what to expect from that. But I'd say that night was the inspiration for the podcast.
I feel like
initially.
that's really the kind of the dynamic of this show.
Quit saying that. That's now hit. What do you say? It's in the moratorium.
The phrase?
Yeah.
The dynamic of the show?
Yeah,
You can't
you-
stop what it is.
Just stop saying it as
Okay.
words.
Stop saying what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll think of a new one.
You were doing janitorial work at nights at that Chinese restaurant,
Uh-huh.
that disgusting little Chinese restaurant here in Yakima.
Yeah.
Only disgusting because we didn't clean it well as janitors.
Well, at all, no. We were quickly let go.
Yeah, but I remember it was like I had started working with you at that job. So we'd go in like a midnight to 2 or 3 on a Friday and Saturday night. So it was really lame hours because everybody else is hanging out and doing whatever. but we'd have to go in there and mop and change garbage cans and clean the toilets and
Yeah.
whatever else.
All the like hundreds of cigarette butts next to the food they were cooking all night.
Ugh, yeah. Anyway, I remember that specifically being the area that I first revealed to you that I was a pot smoker.
Yeah, I
Like
remember
I had
that.
recently discovered it, and you could not believe it because I was
Yeah.
such a jackass before that time.
That night that I was in there, because you and I, we didn't often clean the restaurant at the same time. You would do it some days, and I would do it some days. But we were at somebody's house, a friend of mine's house from work, at Outback at the time. And me and Alvina, like, we just got, like,
Your wife?
Alvina got so drunk that night, so drunk. And I just got so insanely high. And this is when I really first started smoking pot, like, within the year that I first started smoking pot. And I was already married. And so when we were driving home, I was just way too freaked out to keep driving home. So I stopped at the Chinese restaurant on the way there. And I don't know if you remember this as well as I do, but Alvina was passed out in a booth this entire time.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
I was like, I was having a bad high at that moment
Really?
when I first came in, yeah.
The same moment that I revealed that I, in fact,
No,
smoked pot?
not at that moment.
I was hoping that was the case. That would have been way cooler.
I was really excited about that because you were really anti everything for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was really high and mighty and pretending to be a Jehovah's Witness. And at the point that I'd started fucking my girlfriend behind everybody's back and smoking pot, like, I just realized that I could at least come out to you.
Yeah.
And so I did. And so that led to the first time us smoking pot together that I really remember. And Stacy was there just totally bummed out that we were having a good time. And let's go back to the text, PJ.
Okay.
So I'm in Colorado this week, and I'm sending this mass text out, and Stacy is one of about 20 people that gets the Merry
Right.
Christmas buddy
Buddy.
text. And I sent it probably at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I get responses from quite a few people, but not Stacy at any point, and so I kind of forget about it, and I start drinking. And then like 10 or 10:30 rolls around, so 7 or 7.5 hours after I'd written the text, she sends one back to me, and it says, "You too, pagan." So I say, "Merry Christmas, buddy. You too, pagan."
Yeah, that should be the end right there.
It should be.
But you're obsessed.
I'm obsessed.
You're trying to kill me.
I'm obsessed with chaos. Yes, I'm obsessed with pissing you off. So she says, "You too, pagan." And so then I write back to her, "Ha ha," which is, I should just preface, my version of LOL.
Yeah. Don't type LOL.
Anybody that types LOL is a fucking, finish it.
I've only typed it for humor.
Me too.
LOL.
And you know how you know that when I type LOL, it's for humor? Because I'm afraid that won't come across. I also do the emoticon winky face. And then people know that's not me. But so I write, "Ha ha, fuck you," in response to "You too, pagan."
So,
so-
LOL, fuck you.
LOL, fuck you for the layman, yes. And that's how she should have interpreted it. But she's already mad at me, obviously, because
When you were dating, did she get mad that you wouldn't type LOL? Would you get mad that she did? Because that really annoys me about my wife.
that she does type LOL,
Yeah.
even now to you.
Yeah. No, not to me. She knows better than that.
But
But
she
like
doesn't
to her
slip
friends.
up. She's never slipped up and either said LOL out loud
No.
or put it in a text message to you.
No, she knows that I would rip her apart immediately. But it's funny to read her text messages because the way she talks to me and her text, and I'm sorry that I go through her text messages.
It's cool. It's cool.
I guess I have some trust
By
issues.
the way, it's not
We've
cool,
talked
but
about
it's
it.
cool.
But oh my god, when she's talking like her cousins or something, and it's LOL, or if she calls someone girl, hey girl,
She
hey,
does that for
hey
real.
girly, hey little lady. Oh my god, it's painful. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So where are we at in the text conversation? Oh yeah. So basically, "Merry Christmas, buddy. You too, pagan. Haha, fuck you." And then she writes me back and says, "Yeah, ditto." And I should let it go at this point, I recognize.
Yeah,
Because
a couple points ago.
yeah. But I still sense some drama there, and I feel like I can exploit it in my drunken state. And so I then
Be honest with me. Did she send you a text message that said, "Please devote an entire episode to me"?
Yes,
and
she
then you
did.
made up this plan,
Yes.
or she made it up for you?
Do you feel like you've been had?
Yeah, I do.
I'm sorry, but
This
just
is
tell
how you do it.
take off your wig. Okay. Haha, fuck you. Yeah, ditto. That's the exact moment that I should have let it go. But I kept it going. And so at this point, it's just strictly passive aggressiveness. Like, it's obvious that she's pissed at me. I should have never sent her this random Merry Christmas text message. And she, yeah, ditto to my fuck you. So then I write her back again. By the way, I'm in Colorado hanging out with Margaret and her brother. And they're telling me, knock it off. Like, you're just making it worse.
Yeah.
But I can't stop.
Ridiculous. You're going to get back together with her.
Oh, yeah. Let's see how this conversation ends. PJ, and everybody else, again, I encourage you, look at her MySpace page and be convinced for a second that I would ever get back together with her. So I write her back and I say, okay, glad we had this talk. Now, PJ, you're going to take the role as Stacy because we've laid this out.
Okay.
So from now on, PJ is Stacy for the rest of this text conversation.
And I can't really do voices or anything, but I've kind of figured that since her body is about in bad a shape as mine is, then
at least you're taller than her.
I'll just
though.
read it in my own voice.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so at this point I said, okay, glad we had this talk.
Yeah, you should base an ill-advised, drunk, and way too inside joke, that's air quotes, podcast on this to stroke your overactive ego.
So she's talking specifically to me. You haven't even come into this yet.
No.
But she's mad at me. And what, ill-advised, too inside?
Ill-advised, drunk, and way too inside joke I'm sorry.
Is that her fuck up or yours?
This is mine.
Okay.
Ill-advised, drunk, and way too inside joke podcast.
All right. Wow. I really thought based on your last comments on this matter that you were cool, but you're obviously expressing a lot of animosity that I have no choice but to recite and exploit. You nailed it. See, now I regret
and it's
saying
obvious
that.
You were very calm writing it, just as you're reading it now.
Yeah, but I make reference to doing exactly what I'm doing now. Like that's why I almost didn't want to talk about this tonight, because I just feel like I'm giving, because she obviously still listens and I'm giving her the satisfaction of talking about it, but I couldn't help it. Like it just astonished me how mad she is.
Yeah.
And it's totally worth talking about, especially to you.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes me mad.
Okay. So, I'm going to leave off at you nailed it.
Read the whole thing again. I want to get
jeez. Okay. So, wow. I really thought, this is me, by the way. I really thought based on your last comments on this matter that you were cool, but you're obviously expressing a lot of animosity. I'm still laughing at my own jokes that I have no choice but to recite and exploit. You nailed it.
All right. And this one came 15 minutes later, so we're assuming that she ate a meal. Good thing everyone listening to your podcast has to realize how pitiful it is for you to still be lamenting over some relationship you had with a lesbian 5 years ago.
Stop right there, PJ.
Okay.
So I'm still lamenting over a lesbian that I had a relationship with 5 years ago.
There's ketchup on this text message.
Yeah. I just want you to know, the girl I started dating after I'd broken it up with Stacy officially, Pincushion, as she was referred to. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We'd started seeing each other. The first date I had with Pincushion, which was a year and 3 months ago, as of right now. I got home that night for my first date with Pincushion, and I got a call from one Stacy Doan. And she was just checking in on me, seeing how I'm doing. Very happy in her lesbian relationship.
Yeah.
And
which she's admitted is a pretend lesbian relationship. Right?
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
She's fucked many a guy I'm sure, in her relationship.
What was the one guy's name?
We still haven't talked about the guy who she fucked while she was engaged to you.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, she did. I have an eyewitness.
Which is gross enough in itself.
This angel who thought that Nick didn't come to her defense enough when he went to Egg McMuffins with his brother, fucked, who was he, a big fat guy named Jacob, Stacy, if you can give us any details.
I don't
on
know who
this,
Jacob is. I
clear
know
this
that
up
she fucked a
tonight.
big fat guy named Chris.
This
Apparently she's in a
yeah.
Am I fat?
I've seen that guy at McGuire's before.
Yeah?
When I saw Stacy there once and asked her for a cigarette, and she said, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" And that guy was there, and he was like giving me the evil eye. But
Of course he was.
I was there with like a lot of friends of mine, so I was pretty cocky and awesome that night. But yeah, so you fucked some guy named Jacob in a bathroom because one of your friends
Dared her to?
no
Is
told
that how trashy it is?
no from the story I heard, he said he wanted an easy lay or something like that, and they said go to her. And the person who I hear the story from says he didn't know you were engaged to her at the time.
Oh.
At least didn't know who you were. But
If he'd
yeah.
known who I was.
They fucked in the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
this was sometime in 2003.
Yeah, we were definitely, I don't know that we were engaged, but we were definitely heavily dating by that time.
So if you can tell us about that, and then maybe he'll defend your honor next time we have breakfast together.
How do you feel about Egg McMuffins? Okay, so where are we at in this awesome conversation?
I think it's your turn to read the next one.
Yeah, what did you say last?
Lamenting over some relationship you had with a fat disgusting.
Oh, wait.
5
That
years
one,
ago.
I got to finish my story.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she says that I've been lamenting over this lesbian of 5 years, whereas my first date with Pincushion was exactly a year and not exactly, but approximately a year and 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And Stacy had given me a call that night, and she'd probably been seeing the girl that she's still with now for about 2 years, and she's still calling me and being very fat and flirtatious. And she asked me what I did that night, and I was like, I actually went on a date, which is very unusual for me, and I'm sure she was shocked to hear it. And I was like, I went on a date with this girl, and she's like, oh, how'd it go? And I told her honestly I didn't know, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
But it went on, and she started pushing for phone sex, like her girlfriend was gone that night. And this is only a year and 3 months ago. I've been lamenting over this lesbian for 5 years, who is still telling me how much she loves my cock on the phone when I call her, or when she calls me.
Wow, phone sex, really? That is disgusting.
Yeah. Have you never done the phone sex?
No. Did you accept the offer?
I can't answer that, but I can and no.
Okay.
But it was obvious, like, she started saying some graphic things, and I don't know how long prior to that exchanges like that had happened before on the phone. But I remember specifically that it was the night I came home from my first date with that girl. So for her to say that I've been lamenting over her for 5 years, when she claims on MySpace and every other public forum to be nothing but gay, all she can talk about when she gets a chance to talk to me on the phone for 2 minutes is how much she loves dick.
Yeah.
So fuck that. Anyway.
Wow. What a whore.
Who
I'm
knew?
serious, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That
Text,
girl
please.
needs to settle the fuck down. Pretty sure her brothers don't even like her, because I see them a lot, and they know I don't like her, and they like me enough to tell me
Well,
they
of
don't
course
like
they
her.
like you. You're very personable.
Yeah.
In a way lesbians never can be.
Yeah. Your own fucking family doesn't like you. So it's your turn.
Wait, where did you leave off?
The lamenting for 5 years.
Okay, so then I write back. Our listeners, and I realize this isn't even in context. Like, I start spouting out things that will make her mad. Our listeners could give a shit who you are as a person. You make for a good story. If it bothers
that's a
you,
good one right there.
yeah.
You make for a good story.
If it bothers you, stop listening like you claimed to have 4 months ago. Because at this point, I have to assume that she's still listening. Why is she this mad now?
Yeah.
She had plenty of time to say this, and she didn't. So, Stacy, what do you have to say in reply to that?
I haven't.
Oh, wait. It's very important, and I'll read it again for effect. But at this point, when I wrote this last one...
Do you mean you want me to put an effect on this?
Yeah.
When I'm editing?
Yes, please. A boing, preferably. As I was... Because I told you I was writing all this from Colorado, hanging out with my friend Margaret and her brother. And she was telling me the whole time, you got to knock it off, and I wasn't. And so before I had written this last one that I just read, her brother says, all right, this is where you end it, dude. Just say something really fucking harsh and then cut it off and let her know that it's cut off. So I said, our listeners could give a shit who you are as a person. You make for a good story. If it bothers you, stop listening like you claimed to have 4 months ago. And then I immediately followed up that with another one that said, good night. But that wasn't good night for her. She wrote me back one more time.
She didn't go to bed.
Nope.
She went for
When she
a
did, she
midnight
masturbated,
snack.
thinking about me and not girls, though.
I haven't listened since then, nor do I plan to. And if your listeners are even half as ignorant as you and your dickhead, I want to say Sibling?
How is that spelled?
Is that how you pronounce Sybling?
Isn't there
Sibling.
spell check on text message, or does she not have common sense
Yeah.
when it comes to 5th grade vocabulary?
I hope you all rot in some version of hell before you have the chance to set society back even further. Grow up and fuck off.
And that
Last
was it.
words.
Last words. Until now. What are we going to name this episode so that we know it's about her?
Wait, there is one more text message. I swear to God, this is a real text message. Look at my phone. Boy, am I hungry. Did you eat? Stacy wrote that. It says it, right?
Yeah, it does. It totally does.
From Stacy, right? Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Doesn't matter.
It
who
doesn't
it's from.
matter. Close that right up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Stacy, if you're listening,
Which-
thanks for supporting the show. We have stickers now.
Yeah, and we appreciate the download. And we have stickers. We'll send you some stickers. Gonna need a lot of stickers on that bumper, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
It's not what mom had a